So, this is part 2 or day 2 of the Jacosaurus trip from my previous video, which to me was a much more wholesome, better day while being less eventful. I highly suggest watching my part 1 video first to get a better idea of this story, but hey, I'm not your mother, though I may be your father and just left you as a child, and no, I'm not black. But go ahead and keep listening if you like, I'll love you no matter what, and I will be happy to give you a handjob on demand. Or not. So, anyway, the morning of day 2 comes. My friend that I rode with in this trip, the one that drove the Miata 2-seater there, ended up taking the Jacosaurus home right away first thing in the morning since he was basically his friend that he invited. And crazy enough, in the morning, right before his departure, Jake searched and found his phone wedged between some rocks in the river creek. To provide context if you haven't watched my previous video on day 1 of this camp trip, basically Jake threw his phone far into the river creek next to our camp spot while he was high on shrooms in the previous night for some odd, bizarre reason. So yes, he was somehow able to retrieve his phone, and apparently it was still able to power on and function properly, or normally. I'm not sure how the hell his phone still worked, but the gods must have been looking out for him. But yes, funny enough, the friend that drove Jake home later revealed that it was a very quiet and awkward ride home with him, but at least they made it back home in one piece with no trouble. So, the remaining 4 of us, me, Black Kevin, Clay, and Nathan, now all awake in the morning, of course, made an executive decision to wake and bake with a good amount of weed and cook a nice solid breakfast with Clay's portable stove and kitchenware. Shout out to Clay to bring in all that stuff. And yeah, because of him, we were eating good like kings. And after breakfast, we chill around the fire pit and played a few rounds of some card games real quick. And then, again, as young, stupid college gay boys, thought it was time to do some Molly, or MDMA. Yes, we also brought MDMA with us specifically for the second day of this trip. I guess we thought doing Molly and camping was a good idea. And, it kind of was. It wasn't a bad idea. I must admit, we were some drug fiends back in the day. I'll tell you that. Now that I look back on this, I can't believe we did this many drugs. Maybe that's why I feel like I'm on the spectrum at times. But anyway, I remember that each of us probably took about 2 to 3 points of Molly, and for one of the points, or maybe a couple of them, Clay suggested on railing, aka snorting these, just to make it hit us faster. And I was like, what? Snort these? What next? Are you gonna shove these up your penis hole as well? Like, come on now, we're camping and vacationing, we're in no rush of anything. So, then we snorted a line of Molly, which honestly was not enjoyable at all. It was really just a bad idea all around. Then Clay proceeded to shove one up his ass, like as if Bobby Lee was deeply penetrating inside his butt. Just joking, no one shoved anything up their butt. But, no pun intended, but I remember my nose burning a bit, yet instantly getting high right away, like as if Mike Tyson punched me with a dose of MDMA. With our noses burning, we then just took the rest of the MDMA by mouth like a pill like regular people. And of course, we drank and smoked a bunch more along with it, and then decided to walk through the trails next to our campsite. And as we were walking through the trail, I remember spotting and nearly stepping on a baby frog hopping across the pathway, and immediately stopped right in my tracks as fast as possible to allow the frog to bounce away to safety before I take another step and potentially curb stomp it like Edward Norton's skinhead character in the movie American History X, alarming my friends right behind me to be more careful. However, the frog sorta just froze up in its spot instead. It was as if the frog was having a stroke mid-hop or something. Maybe it just accepted its fate that us humans were going to smash it to death like the famous printer destruction scene in the movie Office Space. So, Clay, who was drinking and carrying an open can of Rainier beer, slowly creeped up to the frog like as if it was his long-lost brother who was split up in an orphanage as babies. He put his hand down next to the frog and then, ribbit, it hops on his hand. All of us in awe, looking at Clay like the frog whisperer or Steve Irwin, but instead of the crocodile hunter, Clay was the frog hunter. And he proceeded to carefully pour a little bit of that Rainier beer on the same palm as the one holding the frog, basically next to its mouth. And right away we see the frog take a few licks of that drink. and all of a sudden started hopping up Clay's arm like as if it did a line of cocaine or Molly instead, to which he started freaking out and guided the frog back to the ground where it finally hopped away back into the wilderness, gone with the wind just like that. It was as if the frog got severely intoxicated right away, which is funny because Rainier beer is basically just cheap watery ass beer. Like it might as well be sparkling water. And I may have saw a little tear forming in Clay's eyes as the frog hopped away, and I swore I heard a little whisper or murmur to himself saying, "That's my boy." So we continue on the trail and it suddenly starts raining. As the raindrops hit our heads, we head back to our camp spot as we weren't the most prepared with rainproof attire, and we just chill in Black Kevin's car and hotbox the hell out of it, with of course some Rainier beer on the side. We were still super damn high on the Molly, just having positive vibes all around, and just feeling the moment of everything, feeling each other and rubbing our nipples together. We didn't let the dark, cloudy, gray skies and the rain stop us from having fun and be at peace. Fortunately, Clay brought one of those rain cover tarps or rapid shelter covers so we can still use the stove in the rain under the cover and chef it up and cook that frog that Clay fell in deep love with earlier and its family. Just kidding, we didn't even see that frog again after that. Though I have tried frog legs a couple times in my life from different restaurants, and I remember it being very similar to chicken. If I recall correctly, I think frog is like a popular or common dish in the South. I don't know, but I do know people eat them. And yeah, it just kept raining for the rest of the day and night. We couldn't have any bonfires, so we pretty much just chilled under the rain cover and inside our tents and cars and just be ourselves. It felt like we were living inside of a lo-fi music video or something. It was honestly quite peaceful. And yeah, that was pretty much our second and final day of the camp trip. Just peace vibes all around while being super high off of a variety of drugs. And the next morning, I remember waking up drenched and cold inside my tent and saw that I was sleeping inside of a puddle that formed from the rain somehow. I thought these tents were supposed to be rainproof or something, right? Or my high ass may have set it up wrong. But anyway, I'm glad I brought extra clothing to change into. But yeah, we had to clean up, take down our tents, pack everything up, and leave before the checkout time of 11 a.m. Still hungover and gay and Aspergery from the previous day. And man, the hangovers and come down from Molly are just so bad. Like, I legit just felt super fatigued and lethargic. Like, all I wanted to do was just lay in bed and sleep. But hey, that's why I don't do much Molly in general. That come down just isn't worth the high. And not to mention the negative health effects, of course. And yeah, that was our camp trip entirely. Much less eventful on the second day, but sometimes that's a good thing in a camp trip or even vacation. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes when I'm out somewhere on a trip or a vacation, there'd be times where I just don't want to do anything but lay down, close my eyes, and just be. Maybe just listen to the sounds surrounding my ears and or just let random thoughts enter your mind and ponder on them. Well, I guess I do see people doing something like that at various beaches. You know, people just laying in the sand under an umbrella and take a fat nap on top of a beach towel with their sunglasses on. Maybe some ladies are topless, that'd be nice. But yeah, this trip was almost total yin and yang. The first day was total chaos while on shrooms, and the second day was total peace while on some Molly. It was just a very complete camp trip, I guess. Anyway, thanks for listening. It was just something I wanted to share.
Hit like and subscribe. Don't forget.